You ever have one of those mornings where the world just stops on a dime, and suddenly you're standing in the center of a storm you didn't see coming? That was me, that Saturday. A morning so quiet you could hear the coffee drip, and then 3 knocks, sharp and heavy, shaking me out of my skin. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you just feel when something isn't right, and that's what those knocks did to me. I'd been folding the paper, just looking forward to a slow morning, and yet the second I peeked through that peephole, I knew everything about my day was about to turn upside down. 2 guys in navy uniforms, silver badges catching the light like movie props. One tall, clipboard tucked under his arm, the other shorter, hand on a belt, thumb caressing a holstered gun like he'd seen it in a cop show. "Mr. Harlan, we have a warrant for your arrest," the tall one says, voice as flat and rehearsed as a kid in a school play. Now, I may have looked like just another middle-aged guy in sweatpants, but I'd been chief of police for over 2 decades, so believe me, I know real authority doesn't come wrapped in cheap theatrics. I open the door just enough to make him nervous, and I ask for IDs, real calm. The tall guy's face doesn't change. "We'll explain everything once you're in custody, sir." City code violation. Now, I'd paid every fine, painted every mailbox, and my truck was parked so far off the street you'd need binoculars to see it. So right away I knew this wasn't about some code. I ask again, "Which department are you with?" The second one, rough and impatient, goes, "Don't make this harder than it needs to be. Step outside." I look at their patches, Metro Enforcement Division. Never heard of it. And the badge numbers, both ending in zeros? Rookie mistake, boys. "Give me 1 second. I say, close the door in their faces, and call my dispatch direct. "This is Chief Harlan. I've got 2 males at my residence claiming to be law enforcement. Check for any warrants on me, now." The dispatcher's confused. "Chief, there's nothing. Want backup? Send units." No sirens. I hang up, and the calm settles over me. I open the door again, this time wider, and say, "Gentlemen, identification?" The tall one flashes a badge so fast it might as well be a magic trick. "Metro Enforcement Division," he insists. "Funny," I say, "because there's no such department in this county." The short one steps up. "Sir, are you resisting?" I shake my head, "No, I'm waiting." Then I hear the rumble down the street. 3 black SUVs, no sirens, just quiet authority rolling in. Those 2 fake cops stiffen like they're about to bolt, but it's too late. Real officers step out, hands on holsters, and in seconds those imposters are face down, badges useless on the pavement, and I'm just standing on the porch, watching the circus unfold. "You came to arrest me," I say, "but you didn't even check who I was." The tall one tries to stammer. "We were told." "By who?" I cut him off, eyes like steel. He just looks away, already beat. Out on the street, I see neighbors peeking through blinds, and I'd bet my last dollar Sandra Whitmore, the HOA president, is in her kitchen pretending she had nothing to do with it. But I know better. Someone's made a mistake they're never going to forget. Let me back up a sec. 2 weeks before, everything was normal, or as normal as life gets around here. 10 years in my house at the end of Maplewood Drive, coffee at 6, jog through Greenfield Park, cinnamon roll at Old Mill Bakery. Nobody bothered me. I didn't bother them. And then Sandra moved in from Florida and started running the HOA like it was her personal kingdom. Clipboard in hand, fake laugh. "We're just keeping up standards, Mr. Harlan." She points at some leaves in my gutter. I say, "I think we're all doing our part, ma'am." She doesn't like that I'm calm. People like her think peace is arrogance. The first violation letter comes, mailbox paint. I laugh, paint it, move on. Second letter, my pickup's too visible. That truck's been there for a decade. I go down to the HOA office, ask for clarification. She's typing furiously, doesn't look up. "Rules are rules," she says. "From who?" "That's confidential." She enjoys the power, you can feel it. I don't push. Arguing with someone desperate for control is a waste of time. But it wasn't the fines that bothered me. It was the way power without accountability always ends up. My neighbor Harold, retired electrician, good guy, waves me over one day. "Got one of those letters too, huh?" She says your flag makes the neighborhood look political. I tell him, people show their character when they think they have authority. He warns me, "Be careful. She runs meetings like it's her courtroom, and folks are scared to speak up." I'm not scared, but I can see the writing on the wall. That night, I'm on the porch, flag waving, reviewing my security cameras. Not paranoia, just muscle memory. Years in law enforcement teach you that prevention is quieter than reaction. And sure enough, a week later, another letter. Urgent, thick, red stamp. Failure to comply. It says, hearing required. They want a confrontation. I set it aside, sip coffee, look out over lawns that look perfect but feel wrong. That evening, I head to the HOA meeting. Room smells like coffee and stress. Sandra in her coral blazer, Lydia the yes-woman realtor, Gordon the board insurance adjuster. Sandra opens the show. Repeated noncompliance at 1149 Maplewood Drive. That's me. I reply. I've complied with every notice. The mailbox, the truck, the flag. All by the book. Sandra sharpens her tone. Several residents feel your property doesn't fit the neighborhood image. You mean, like everyone else? I ask. Lydia jumps in about uniformity. Gordon tries to move things along, but Sandra wants her pound of flesh. They talk about fines for resistance to compliance. I say, you're fining me for following your rules because you don't like how it looks? She fumbles. We have the right to enforce community standards. I shoot back, and I have the right to due process. If you're issuing fines, I want documentation, photos, complaints, who voted. Dead silence. She mutters, some people think the rules don't apply to them. I lock eyes. Some people just don't like being challenged by someone they can't control. The meeting breaks up, but Harold catches me outside. They'll push harder now. I say, people like Sandra double down when they're embarrassed. Let them show who they really are. Then, twist, Sandra calls an emergency meeting, formal email, whole 9 yards. The real issue? Me. They put my house on a projector, zoom in on my flag, my truck, my nephew's car. He's a paramedic, works long shifts, but apparently, that's too messy for the HOA's harmony. I challenge her. Exceptions for emergencies are allowed. Are you asking every resident to notify for visitors, or just me? The room shifts. Even her allies look uncomfortable. Harold stands up, calls her out, and for the first time, Sandra's mask slips. When she calls for a vote to fine me, nobody raises their hand. Not one. Outside, she hisses, you may think you've won, but this community won't tolerate arrogance forever. I just look at her and say, neither will justice. Her glare says it all. This is personal now. The next day, Sandra's at her kitchen table, wine sweating on the counter, replaying every moment. Lydia, her only friend on the board, tries to talk her down. Sandra's beyond reason now, muttering about what happens when you let someone embarrass you. That night, Sandra calls 2 old security contacts, Rick and Eddie, and in a greasy diner off Highway 278, she hires them to make it official, scare him a little. She thinks she's in control, but the truth is, she started something she can't finish. Saturday comes, fog on the lawns, coffee brewing, jazz on the radio. Then those 3 deliberate knocks. 2 men outside, uniforms just off enough for me to spot. They read their script, warrant for your arrest. I go through the motions, check their badges, call their bluff, and let the cavalry arrive. 3 black SUVs, officers moving like a well-oiled machine. Rick and Eddie don't know who I am until it's too late. My guys cuff them, and when Sandra creeps down the street in her silver SUV, she's caught in the headlights, eyes wide, realizing her whole world just crashed. One of my officers knocks on her window. Ma'am, can you step out? She stammers. What's this about? I say, they said they had a warrant for my arrest. The paperwork came from someone in the HOA. Know who that might be? She goes pale. I don't know. Then I'm sure the investigation will clear that up. And as they lead the imposters away, neighbors filming, whispering, I give Sandra one last look. You should have just left me alone. By the next morning, the neighborhood's energy has shifted. People cross the street to avoid Sandra. Conversations stall when I walk by. Channel 5 Atlanta picks up the story. Impersonation of law enforcement targeting local police chief. It doesn't take long for the HOA connection to come out. Emails, texts, everything. Harold's on his porch. You stirred up a hornet's nest now. I just wanted to drink my coffee in peace. Detective Stillwell, leading the case, tells me they've got everything. Confessions, payments, Sandra's own words about scaring me straight. The charges pile up. By evening, Sandra tries to issue an apology. It backfires spectacularly. The board calls for her resignation, and neighbors who never spoke to me suddenly want to be friends. Funny how guilt changes the way people talk. As the days go by, the media swarms, headlines explode, and Sandra's name is everywhere. The neighborhood is split. Some want her locked up, others say she just made a mistake. Harold comes over, says, "I've never seen someone handle that with so much composure." I tell him, anger makes noise, dignity leaves evidence. Will Sandra go to jail? Probably not. But her name's ruined, and people like her fear that more than anything. Later, I get a message from an unknown number, a photo of my yard. "You may have one, but you don't belong here." I forward it to Stillwell, no anger left, just resolve. The real fallout isn't legal. It's the way people look at each other now. Maplewood Drive's mask is gone. Sandra's resigned. Her house now just a shell. I keep my routine. Mow the lawn, wave at the mail carrier, park my truck right where it's always been. The whispers don't matter anymore. At a town meeting, I finally speak. What happened wasn't just about me. It was about the idea that some people think they can decide who belongs. Authority without accountability isn't strength. It's weakness. The room is silent. Some people clap. Others just sit with the truth. Reporters ask if I'll move. I say, I'm not moving. This is my home. That's the story that sticks. Police chief refuses to leave after HOA scandal. But for me, it's not about proving anyone wrong. It's about living with dignity. As the weeks pass, the media moves on, but the neighborhoods change for good. A kid from down the street, Caleb, stops by, says his parents were wrong, and apologizes. Most wrong things stay alive because good people stay quiet, I tell him. The important part is that you noticed. A barbecue at Harold's, just the good folks this time, laughing, swapping stories. "You ever think about leaving?" he asks. If I left, she'd win. I'm not giving them that satisfaction. At the end of the day, I sit on my porch, coffee in hand, listening to the quiet. The lesson is clear. Authority doesn't make a person powerful. Integrity does. And real strength isn't loud. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers. If you've stayed with this story, remember, character isn't proven in comfort, it's proven in conflict. So when life tests your patience, keep your dignity close, your voice steady, and don't ever let anyone tell you where you belong. What about you? Do you think justice was served? Or is there more to the story? Let me know how you'd handle it. Let's talk about what real community means and who gets to decide where someone belongs.